Consciousness gets a lot of airtime, but for founders, it's not just a thought experiment. It shows up in how you lead under pressure and deal with uncertainty, how you handle hiring, pricing, and timing. In this video, I explain the three aspects of consciousness you need to know about and how they show up in your business. For many years, I thought my business was the problem, not my consciousness. The team issues, the constant stress, the endless decisions, the revenue roller coaster, it felt like whack-a-mole. But it was really reflecting my state of mind, my fear of letting go, my beliefs about control, and my need to prove I could do it all. Once I started to do the inner work, then my business growth took off, changed the source, and the reflection changes too. And that source is consciousness. The field of consciousness is red hot right now. It sits where neuroscience, AI, physics, and philosophy converge. Neuroscientists have been searching for consciousness in the brain for over a century, but haven't found it yet. And now AI raises a practical question. If a machine were conscious, how would we know? In physics, quantum experiments keep probing reality and the role of the observer in it. There's also the conversation about whether we're the only conscious life in the cosmos. Philosophy still asks, what does it mean to be conscious? Well, fortunately, we don't need to know all the answers in order to use consciousness. So what is consciousness? These are the three definitions that matter for founders. First, there's awareness of experience. This is the moment-by-moment awareness of the inner dimension of thoughts, feelings, and intuition, and the outer dimension of actions, results, and the external world. Second, there is awareness of awareness itself. This happens when you adopt the perspective of the observer. Then you can see your life's journey from the meta arc of your higher self. Third is awareness of the universal field of energy. Space isn't empty. Everything in the cosmos is vibrating and connected as energy. When you access this field, synchronicities, flashes of insight, novel solutions emerge. I see it this way. Consciousness is a mirror that reflects who you're being in the moment, a teacher that guides your life's journey, and a doorway that leads to your evolution. When I describe the first level of consciousness as awareness of experience, it's not as obvious as it may seem. Most of the time, we're not aware of what we're thinking or feeling. Sometimes we're not even aware of what we're doing. Have you ever driven somewhere and not remembered how you got there? We can even block awareness of the results we're getting. I'll never forget the time in my first business when my team billed for 50% of a project, but we were only 30% complete. I got a crash course in paying attention to the dynamics of cause and effect. When you're conscious, you're aware of both the inner dimension of thoughts, feelings, and intuition, and the outer dimension of actions, results, and the external world around you. Awareness of experience means noticing what's happening inside you right now and seeing how it shows up outside you. When you feel frantic, your replies get sharp and your team mirrors that tension back. It's easy to think your business is making you feel frantic, but that's not the real cause. It's the thoughts inside that you're not even aware of that are affecting your state. When you think something like there's too much to do, and then you feel overwhelmed. So you try to multitask and overwork. The result is diminishing returns and exhaustion. But the source of all of that was your thought. The simple formula is thoughts create feelings, feelings are the fuel for your actions, and then those actions create results. That's why your current results reflect your past state of consciousness. This is great news because your future results reflect your current state of consciousness. That means you can do something about it now. The second level is awareness of awareness itself. This is the move where you step back and notice your patterns from an objective point of view. You observe you with curiosity, not judgment. You notice the thought, you feel the emotion, and you see the impulse to act without being inside any of it. From that vantage point, the teacher shows up. Feelings become feedback instead of commands. I'm anxious turns into I'm projecting a negative outcome. You spot what repeats. You think others won't do it right, so you hesitate to delegate. But the observer in you sees how this issue is tied to your self-concept, your identity. When mistakes happen, you think they reflect on your worth. It's only when you're as the observer that you can see how your need to control is limiting your business and your freedom. There's another common experience. Revenue rises and you feel great. It drops and you feel like a failure. When you look at it from the perspective of the observer, you can see how you're using the business as a way to validate your worth as a person, instead of recognizing your intrinsic value and accepting yourself as a work in progress. Once you're conscious of this, the illusion loses its grip. The observer in you knows you are not your business. You're so much more. Your business is your teacher. The third definition of consciousness is awareness of the universal field. Space isn't empty and we don't operate in isolation. There's a connected field of energy and information that links people, ideas, and events. When you're coherent on the inside, you can perceive this field and have access to solutions that are already there. You feel what the universe wants to express and align your actions with it. In practice, this feels like flow. Synchronicities line up. Flashes of insight and novel solutions arise while you're sleeping, in the shower, or working out. Sometimes they come fully formed, like when Niels Bohr saw the structure of an atom in a dream, or when Paul McCartney heard the song Yesterday out of the blue in his mind. So here's how to work with it intentionally. Get conscious of your inner state. Breathe slowly until your mind is clear and you feel relaxed and open. Now, bring the observer online. Name your intent. Hold the picture of the outcome you want, not the how, just the result. Relax, allow, and receive information from the field. If nothing comes, just hold it lightly in your subconscious for a few days. Forcing it doesn't work. Practice being present throughout your day so that you notice the flash of insight when it does come through. Once you get a signal, take the next smallest step. If alignment rises and effort drops, continue. If friction spikes, pause and reset. Your business can't rise higher than your consciousness, but it will rise with it.